Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to have you here with us. Maybe you can kick off with an introduction to Holgut. Tell us a little bit about the film.
So Holgut is a hybrid documentary fiction film. It's set in Siberia, in Yakutia, and we follow two storylines. And one is of two brothers, an older one, Roman, and a younger one, Kim, who venture out into the tundra. And Roman wants to have his younger brother hunt for a reindeer. That's what they go look for. But it doesn't go as planned. And then the other story is about Semyon Grigoriev, a renowned scientist, who goes also into the wilderness to look for remains of mammoths in the permafrost. So he wants to try to clone the mammoth with those remains. While the story continues, their quest becomes more and more mythical. In the end, that's also what the whole story turns out to be. It's like the creation of a mother myth. We see a mother myth being happening in front of our eyes, actually.
What sparked your interest in this particular place and this particular story and compelled you to want to put it on the big screen?
I started this film in 2013, so many years ago, but even before that, I was already interested in the idea of extinction. And what fascinated me about that was that humans play a very big role in the extinction of animals, of fauna and flora. We hear it almost every day that so many animals go extinct. So on the one hand, that's what we do, but on the other hand, I see that there's this need in humans, that we have this need of this wild natural world. And you can see this also in fantasy stories or science fiction stories. In Star Wars, for example, where you have these creatures that actually look a lot like animals that went extinct so many hundred years ago. So this tension I wanted to show, but then also I had the same thing with climate change, and I also wanted to show it. But for both these stories, I didn't want to make an informative film. I wanted from something out of the past. I wanted to show it happening, to see it happening in front of our own eyes, as it is happening right at this moment. And so these two curiosities of mine drove me to Siberia, where I first heard of the mammoth cloning project. So it was that brought me there. And then I heard all these other stories, like the reindeers, which brought me to the two brothers. Yeah.
Talk us through the whole process of actually making the film and being in some of these locations and kind of getting this hybrid between documentary and a fiction film. I mean, it sounds cold for a start, but tell us what it was like making the film.
Well, we went in summer because I wanted, as I wanted to show climate change and not just talk about it, we had to go in summer where everything is melted. In winter, it's like this white winter wonderland, but in summer you really see all the water everywhere. The river is very high, the tundra is very moist. I wanted to create this feeling that you could squeeze every image like a sponge almost. So we went in summer, but still there the temperature ranged from +5 degrees until maybe +30. Well, it was very challenging, and a big reason why the project took so long is that logistically it was very, very challenging. And also just as a human to see this landscape changing so much. One of the locations that we go to is this big wall, and this wall is and you see the bare permafrost, and it's melting and melting, and every year the wall, the crater that this wall created gets deeper and deeper, and it's very it's scary, it's intense to be in those places, but it was also beautiful. I took it as a challenge to go to a place that you could consider the end of the world, and it was beautiful as well.
What do you hope people will take away from your film? Because I guess it takes them on a journey, but like you're mentioning at the beginning, there's quite a few kind of those big issues that are preoccupying us at the moment. The extinction of animals, climate change. So, do you want to also get people thinking and asking questions about that as well?
Well, I have the impression that when we talk about climate change or extinction, that we tend to see it as these phenomena that happen outside of us. Like we are making animals go extinct and it's out of us, or we are making climate change and it's outside of us. But what I wanted to do with the movie is I didn't want to make an activistic pamphlet. I rather want to take the viewer on a journey, and what happens to the characters characters, what we see is because of these natural phenomena, their stories cannot be fulfilled. Their life stories cannot be fulfilled. They're on hold. It's like the stories of their lives, there are holes in it, and they cannot come to completion. So what I would rather want to say is maybe we should also think that we are part of this natural world, and that everything we do has an effect on us, and that we're all connected, and that is a realization that we should more often think about.
What about for yourself, kind of going on that long journey of making the film and all the research and then seeing the final piece? Do you feel changed by the experience?
Oh, definitely. But what was more is we talk about climate change now and the animal extinction. For me, it also felt a bit like I would say going down a mammoth hole because of all this mythology. Mythology is very strong. It's like I said, a modern myth, and that for me was quite the experience to be grabbed by this. And just as my characters go down the mammoth hole, I feel like me as well with this movie. I went down the mammoth hole.
And how does it feel to have it screening here at the London Film Festival, and how do you see this as a platform for a much broader audience to be able to see your film?
Yeah, it's really great, especially after the challenging years. To show it with an audience is great. Here to have such a big platform, I also hope that this is only a step up to maybe to show it on other platforms for people, and it's great to get this opportunity. I hope that there's a big audience that would also like to go down that mammoth hole together with the film.
Do you feel optimistic about the future? I mean, we've got the COP26 coming up, haven't we? Or, and there's all these meetings that go on between all countries to try and stop climate change, but sometimes it feels like one step forward, two steps back.
Well,
do you feel optimistic?
In general, I would feel optimistic. Sometimes there are some, like also in the end of the movie, there is fear, there is this darkness, but I do feel that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, or at least that's what we should have to go forward. I'm not totally deprived of hope, no.
And can you quickly tell us if you've got another project set up in the future, or you're going to wait and see?
I'm still working on it.
Keep us posted. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time, and enjoy your screening this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.